So, after 4 days of Red Bull Romaniacs in the Adventure Core class, about 500 kilometers of rocks, mud, descents and steep climb. What does that actually do to the 450 MT? I think it's time for a proper after the race bike check. Let's start from the front of the bike. I started the race with fresh tires. I'm running Michelin Enduro Medium, both front and rear. The front tire was not replaced during the race, but now it's time to replace it because several of the knobs are missing. So the front tire has taken quite a lot of beating. I think it has to do with the long descents, which are really steep. Maybe the steepest descents I have done on the bike. And you are braking really hard. The front brake pads looks quite okay. The fork, this is not related to the bike itself or Romaniacs, but I went down to 𝐀𝐝𝐯𝐫𝐞 with a newly serviced fork. However, the workshop messed it up really bad. So the first day I was riding with a fork that was quite bad. And in the evening of the first day, the service team put in new cartridge, springs and oil. So after the first day, the fork were working properly. So this side of the bike has taken quite a lot of beating. Some of the body parts is coming loose, and I also see that there is some damages to it. The turn signal is pointing in an awkward direction, and we have a lot of scratches on the plastic. I think all of these damages are related to me dropping the bike on the third day. I was passing over a narrow wooden bridge over a creek when I dropped the bike. It landed more or less upside down on a wooden beam. The beam broke, the bike partially broke, but I was able to continue riding it. Yeah, I know there are crash bars, which could be good in these cases. And I have crash bars in my garage. So all these needs to be fixed. The handguards I'm using is Polysport. I've been really happy with it. I fitted them with new plastic protection before I went to 𝐀𝐝𝐶. This one is still in Romania somewhere. On this side it's quite badly beaten up and partially broken, so those needs to be replaced. The aluminium bar itself is still looking good. It just needs to be adjusted. Then it will be fine. Moving on. So the gear shifter assembly broke on me the second day before the service. I think I smashed it into a rock and it got bent and it was impossible to shift gear. So I was at the trail on 4th gear on an uphill. I tried to do some trail side repairs to get it fixed, but I didn't manage to get it in the correct position so I could shift gears. So I had to remove all the parts besides this top arm. When I only had this top arm on, then I could shift by hand. I was not able to shift while riding off-road, but if I pull the clutch and jiggle the bike back and forth, then I could pop out from 4th gear to 2nd gear and continue riding. And I rode most of that time until the service point on 2nd gear. They replaced it during service, and later the same day in this mining facility I smashed it again against some concrete block. It was really narrow in the staircase, So yeah, I don't think I could have done it in much different way because it was so narrow. So it got bent again, and I was forced to ride in second and some part in third gear the remaining of that day. The service team had 10 of these as spares. By day 3 they had consumed all 10. So this is a weak part if you are riding hard off-road. And I think if you are going far from home, bring one of these in your backpack, because that can save your day. The chain guide has taken some hits and has been bent a bit. So the chain is entering the rear sprocket in a kind of wrong angle. And the rear sprocket is really worn. And this one was brand new when I went down to Sibiu. So I need to straighten this out, maybe replacing it, and replacing the rear sprocket. The front sprocket is okay for a while, but also need to be replaced soon. I did not change the front tire, but the rear tire was replaced on the second day. After the service, the second day, when they replaced this one, just a few minutes after the start on the second part of the day, I cut the 5 centimeter hole in the tire. Luckily I'm running tubeless and half moose, so I was able to continue riding the bike, but I had to slow down quite a lot. Maybe I could have been riding it more hard, but I didn't want to risk destroying my rim or wheel, since it's quite expensive parts. So I took it really easy. In the evening the service team changed the tire. The moose was completely destroyed, so that also got replaced. So the second day was quite bad. 1 tire, 2 gear shifter assemblies destroyed. So that day went from trying to ride as fast as possible for me to just make it to the finish line, which I did, and I'm really happy I did. The brake pads in the rear is completely done. Those were new before I went down there. It's a bit surprised that the rear ones is completely gone, while the front looks quite okay. Beside that, this side of the bike looks quite okay. Some scratches on the plastic, but I guess that's to be expected. The seat cover has a bad cut on this side and also a smaller one on this side. So the seat cover needs to be replaced. I was looking into replacing the seat cover before I went to Sibiu, but I had a hard time finding a seat cover that fits the stock seat. Because I want to replace it with something more grippy. Most of those are made for MX bikes, enduro bikes, and they are not big enough to fit this seat. So if you have any suggestions on a seat cover that actually fits the stock seat, please let me know in the comment section. Besides what's visible to the eye, I replaced the clutch after the prologue and before off-road day 1. So I started off-road days with a fresh clutch and fresh oil. On the evening, the first day, the service team checked the oil and it looked good. On the second day, they decided to replace the oil and the filter, just to make sure that the clutch is running in fresh oil. I also replaced 2 air filters during the race. It was dusty, but it was not too bad. I maybe could have managed with just 1 replacement, but since I had fresh air filters with me, it was an easy task to replace them, just to make sure I was running on clean filters. The engine itself has been running smooth and been really good. So most of the issues I had is related to me dropping the bike or smashing into things. So I'm really happy with the bike, and I mean, destroying things when you're dropping the bike or cutting the tire has not to do with the bike itself. It's more a bit of bad luck with the tire and dropping the bike. I guess it's a part of riding hard off-road. So that was the bike check. If you have any suggestions for a new seat cover or a way to protect this one, please let me know in the comment section. There will be more videos coming related to Red Bull Romaniacs and the event and my experiences from it. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and see you in the next one.